Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver now.
RoadToRuta.com. It is, what is the date? The 14th, 15th? 14th. It is the 14th of January. 6 more days till inauguration. Melee everywhere, obviously, from fires to terrorist attacks to exploding Tesla cars. You name it, we got it. Cliff High nailed another one. And speaking of that, the Road to Ruta is now giving away one Veritasium token with every private road subscription and renewal. This won't last long, I figure. Go check it out. Veritasium was pretty much taken off all the significant exchanges. There are a few places you can kind of get it. But the reality for Veritasium, I'll talk about Veritasium in a second. Anyway, if you're a private road member, you can renew and get this Veri token shipped to your front door. Or if you're new to the Road to Ruta and want to get more information and get excited about it, go to roadtoruta.com. Click on subscribe today. The private road membership gives you full access to everything I've done from the old, when I was just a blogger, to all the videos and things that have been posted on the private road at roadtoruta.com. It's literally a museum of our current situation. I love it. I love it. Not a museum. Let's call it a library of how we got here and where we're going. All right. Let's talk silver today. Very, very, very interesting times. Silver is butting up exactly. Look at this. Exactly on the 200-day moving average. Currently, the 200-day moving average is $29.95.73. And look at it. It's right there, right on the line. Of course, we know that is the purchase price for physical going into India especially, but also China and Russia. The criminal market riggers have been exposed. They use the futures and options to rig prices. This is for every market, by the way. All you crypto people wondering why Bitcoin gets slammed, it's futures and options. The head of the ex-head of the CFTC, guy named Christian Carlo, told the whole world exactly during the Trump administration what he was doing or what they did. And this, absolutely, Trump is a market rigger. How do you keep the system together and fix problems unless you 100% rig the market? Is it going to continue? I would say no. If Mr. Trump, President Trump, wants a free society in the United States of America, he better let free markets work. And he didn't last time. I hope everybody knows that. 100% rigged jobs everywhere you looked. Using futures and options. They've been doing it since the invention of these crazy derivative markets. That's why the derivative bubble collapse, probably in silver, will destroy the banking cabal and all the bad guys and all the debt. That's the big problem on the planet right now. Debt for countries, cities, counties, individuals, corporate. Everybody is loaded up with way too much debt. And the derivative implosion would, boom, bye-bye debt. And then you're stuck with whatever you got in your own possession. Your bank accounts will be zeroed out. Obviously, I mean, your bank is insolvent. If you didn't know that, go watch It's a Wonderful Life. And in the electronic world, it'll be quite funny because there'll be nobody there at the bank in the first place. If the employees aren't getting paid, who would show up at a bank? And if the bank doesn't have any money because they lost it all on derivative bets, who would show up? Your little tiny community savings and loan will be gone as well. All these banks are interconnected. That's why they call them too big to fail banks, meaning that if they do fail, the entire system will melt down. All right, but we know this has been in the plan for a very long time. Really interesting, the Commitment of Traders report was finally released. It was delayed until yesterday because of President Carter's memorial service, burial, whatever. All the banks were closed and the exchanges were closed. But now they have released exactly what happened in the first week of January, which is exactly what we would expect happen when we look at what happened to the price of silver. From January 1st, it went from $28.90 to the 7th, it went to $29.87. So it went up, which means the commercial riggers, the price of pressures probably shorted, and the managed money closed out shorts to go long. Let's see if that actually happened. Here we are for the futures for the week of ending January 7th. And here it is. Exactly. I tell you, that was not magic what I just did. It just happens every time because that's their freaking game. So the producers, the merchants and swap dealers, this is the banking cabal. Right now they own the top 8 traders, which is pretty much all you need. Own a short position of 55% of all COMEX. 8 traders have 55% of the shorts. The total open interest is 750. So 55 would be, what is that? 380, 390 million ounces they're short. So every dollar that silver climbs, these 8 traders as a group, now that 1 or 2 have the massive short, would lose $380 million. Not a big deal to the banks who have billions and billions. It is a big deal if silver goes to, say, $100 or $1,000 or $10,000, which I think it is going. It's going 1-to-1 with gold at some point when the manipulation ends. Remember, this is 170 to 180 years of price suppression. When that's freed, look out above. So that's why silver is my number one safest, most secure, and most potential for gain asset that I recommend. It's not financial advice. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. So physical silver in your own possession. Living in the United States, I am very, very, very on the side of U.S. mint coinage. Because I can see a world when the shit falls apart where we go back to a gold and silver standard using David Ryder, the ex-U.S. Mint Director's technology of scanning the surface of every coin and give it an identifier so we can use it on our phone. Go to the store. You can spend 1/100th or 1/1,000,000th of an ounce of gold or silver to buy something. And it's all kept track via blockchain, decentralized on your phone, or you can go into your bank and get that same exact coin out if you still have 100% of it. If not, they'll give you the change in silver. So yeah, I do think if you live in the United States and wherever you live, if you have a sovereign silver coin or gold coin, mainly silver, gold will double or triple, don't get me wrong. But silver will go well above what anybody expected. And it'll be taken out of solar panels, by the way. So this is probably the last year. Last year was the last year of solar panels, and it was up like 32%. 32% more solar panels were installed last year. The Silver Institute will cockamamie a story up, saying, "Oh no, we thrifted it out." Bullshit. And if they say, "Oh, the inventories, we had overstuffed inventories," that's where the solar panels came from. That is true, but the overstuffing happened last year with the production. So why didn't you count it last year? You can't have your lunch and eat it too. Oh, they don't seem to, they play very loose with the rules. Anyway, so who did? So so right now we see the commercials are short that week. This is how much basically silver it's costing them. 18,735,000 ounces last week is the net short position. So you take away they got some longs that they sold and they went short. Mainly the swap dealers, almost 15 million ounces. Total net short position increased by 18,735. And I was looking at the managed money. It should have been somewhere in the same realm, but it's really not. Actually, the managed money, they did get rid of 3,700, 3,900. Oh, yeah, it is. Never mind. I was looking at something else. So they went long 4,000 contracts and got rid of 3,795 short contracts, which is, so you add those together, would be about 8, that's about 40 million ounces. So where did the rest of the silver come from? The managed money is going long. Where did the other, 20 to 21 million ounces come from? Right here. Other reports. This is like the BlackRock it's the Enron of silver, basically. They say, oh, no, this subsidiary of J.P. Morgan or the subsidiary of HSBC is under other reportables. So that's where it came from. As you can see, the they went short and they got rid of a bunch of longs, net. That's the difference. So it's the other reportables and the non-reportable positions. This is apart from the banking cabal of HSBC, JP Morgan, Bank of America, Wells Fargo is in it a little bit. The big deliverer, the big short is HSBC, who was the original silver rigger back in the 1850s with the Opium Wars. So it is just that when the derivative bubble melts down, HSBC will be gone in a blink of an eye, which is a too big to fail bank. Take out all its counterparties, JP Morgan, Bank of America, all of that, and then all of a sudden, poof, everything just says, poof. If I'm a remote viewer, that's what I would view as what's coming up for our financial system. It'll be a kind of a shaking and then a poof, turning all accounts to zero if somebody else holds it for you. Get ready. And then there'll be nationalization. As a matter of fact, the nationalization's already started. Mali starts seizing gold stocks at Barrick site, company memo says. This is posted on Reuters, January 13th. Barrick Gold has been in a dispute with Mali since 2023. Mine site has around 4 tons of gold stocked. Employee says Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger seek bigger revenues. Mali's government has begun enforcing a provisional order to seize gold stock at Barrick Gold Lingo Guinto site. Horrible pronunciation. The Canadian miner said in a note to Malian staff, warning again that it may have to suspend operations at the complex, which means less and less. The bigger thing here is that everybody who has part of a mining stock is at massive risk right now. If the banking system falls apart, which I think it is in the coming months, I believe every single country will say, holy shit, what do we do for money? Those with value in the ground, with mining companies, they're not going to allow foreigners to take that wealth out of their country. And they shouldn't, truthfully. Even the United States won't let foreigners, say Chinese own all the mines in the United States, and the banking system crashes. You think the people of the United States would allow the shareholders of these gold and silver mines to walk away with the fortune? No, of course not. That's the extremity of what's about to happen. So it has already started. It started quite a while. Like, for example, Mexico, they have threatened and stated that they're going to pass a law, shut down all open pit mining. Goodbye, silver. Don't forget, this takes gold out of the gold supply if they shut down this mine. Silver, too. I mean, Mexico's not going to allow foreign ownership of the silver mines. Now, they might do it a different way. Maybe if the system barely stays together, they'll probably tax it to death. Okay, give 95% of the revenue that you get to the people of Mexico before you take any profit. Stuff like that's going to go on. But mostly when the banking system fails, there's no other choice but to nationalize as much as you can. Is it constitutional? Have we really been following the Constitution this far? Probably not. Will the people demand it? We the people? Of course we will. How were these mining companies started? How did all this debt get accumulated? It's basically at the banking level. The banks create money out of thin air. The Federal Reserve does some, but mainly the banks. They can create money at 9-to-1 ratio or 10-to-1. So for every $1 they have, they can create and lend out 10 of them. 9 of them. Lend out 9 of them. It varies. It's from 8 to, if you count derivatives, it's probably 50-to-1 leverage. And I do count derivatives because they are absolutely an investment of the banking cabal. JP Morgan has over $50 trillion, with a T, trillion dollars in derivatives that we know about, and even more. And then their counterparty, every single one of those derivative positions is counterparty to another entity. It could be a strong entity like Bank of America or Wells Fargo Bank. It could be Joe Schmo's pickling farm in Taiwan. It could be anything. We don't know. And the funny thing is JP Morgan doesn't know who's in these markets either. The derivative markets are kind of invisible or opaque. It's hard to see who's zooming who, shall we say. Anyway, so yeah, I think great things in store for silver. Right now, we have one more day before the Indian government. I actually think it's tonight. The Indian government will release the silver import numbers for the entirety of last year. Right now, it's at 267 million ounces of physical silver imported into India, which is shocking. The old record was like 300 million, which was very shocking. Nothing even close to that before that. This year of silver scarcity, India is going to import, I think, over 300 million. It needs to get 32 million in the December report. 32 million ounces. I think it's going to hit 50 million. And then and the reason I say that is because from December 15th all the way to the end of the month, from the 15th to the 19th, the 18th, it went under a 200-day moving average. So it went under 100. That's a buy point. It was a buy point for India here. And then it went under a 200, which is a massive buy point. My 50 million projection for December, that's literally over 2 weeks, might be a little low. I don't know. I'd say now January is going to be a massive month because it's held down below the 200-day moving average. If January is anywhere close to February of last year, which was 80 million ounces, we're looking at another 300, 400, 500 million ounces going into India. Where is all this silver coming from, you might ask yourself? Good luck having the SLV deliver any of the coins. They're going to shut down SLV and say, force majeure, oh no, the world fell apart, an asteroid fell, or LA burned to the ground, force majeure, is what the bankers will claim. So we will see. And the article I read in yesterday's news about the traders saying, oh, it's the Trump policies, everybody's trying to hoard silver. It's not. It's got nothing to do with the Trump policy. It will, ultimately. Trump knows exactly what the Achilles heel of the bankers is. Why do you think he charged J.P. Morgan briefly with RICO charges, meaning they have to pay back 3 times what they stole? And in the J.P. Morgan case of silver, this was silver and gold and U.S. treasuries. In the silver world, they had accumulated around 1.2 billion ounces of physical over the years that they were rigging the price, suppressing the price. Completely illegal, but when you're as powerful as J.P. Morgan Chase, you do that kind of shit. Because you own the regulators. Who's in charge of the OCC, Office of Comptroller of Currencies, for large bank regulation? Who's the guy in charge of it? You want to know? Do you really want to know? This might hurt your feelings. OCC, Office of Comptroller of Currencies. Click on the OCC website, and you click on About Leadership. And there is the controller of the Comptroller of Currency Administrator, blah, blah, blah. The comptroller is Michael Chu. Number 2 man, Greg Coleman. I remember when I first exposed this guy. He had a picture of him like 20 years earlier. He looked so young. And then one day it's like, wait a minute, is that the same guy? I looked at the face. I go, yeah, it's just older. He had a really old picture. He wanted to look more distinguished. So the senior deputy comptroller of large bank supervision, a guy named Greg Coleman. In his position, Mr. Coleman will direct 800 men and women who supervise the country's largest national banks and federal branches, which hold more than $10 trillion in total consolidated assets. So he's in charge of overseeing the derivative bubble. Let's see where he came from. This is so funny because I think they took it out. Mr. Coleman served a variety of bank supervision roles as an examiner, policy expert, and manager of OCC, including serving as examiner in charge of Capital One and E-Trade. He previously served as director within the Credit and Market Risk Division in the Office of the Chief National Bank Examiner and as ... the lead for capital markets team at, drumroll, J.P. Morgan Chase. You think J.P. Morgan is afraid of the regulators stopping their cons, stopping the criminality? Hell no. They got their guy in the right place. This guy's in charge of, policing the whole 50 trillion of J.P. Morgan derivatives. Good luck. Good luck, Greg. He watches the Road to Rooter, by the way. He is a Road to Rooter subscriber. Anyway, okay, here's where we are. So you know where we are. Just get your physical. Andy, I think, is still running a $1.69 over. Don't quote me on that. He might have run out of his inventory pre-65 coinage. Contact Miles Franklin, info@milesfranklin.com, or give them a call. This was a special for Road to Ruta customers. I've heard him quote higher numbers to other people. So he said, yeah, your guys can get it for $1.69 over, just the inventory he had. So if they run out of inventory of the pre-65 stuff, they'll probably go back to regular pricing. But go check it out if you don't have any physical or you need to restock, shall we say. All right, let's talk again about Veritasium, because that is the coin we're giving out. Why did Veritasium implode? What happened to Veritasium? It was at $450 in 2019. What happened, Bix Weir? What happened? The bankers knew it would take them out of the game. And so they destroyed Reggie Middleton and his company. So let's just take a look at what happened to Veritasium, currently trading at $29. Right here, it was up at like $450, $470 right here in January of 2018. And then bang, the hammer came down on Reggie Middleton. CoinMarketCap even has this. The Securities and Exchange Commission has filed charges against Reggie Middleton. Now, the SEC has filed charges against many crypto companies. Why is this the only one? Because CoinMarketCap is violating Reggie's patent. They are. Everything they're doing, reporting on the capital markets, is in violation, peer-to-peer capital markets, violation of Reggie's patent. It's a great patent, mind you. That's why they put it there. But I mean, that's small potatoes. What is Veritasium? Now, listen to this description. I'm going to tell you what the SEC said. Veritasium is a blockchain-based fintech software company. And that's what it is. It's a software. It facilitates peer-to-peer transactions. Patented by Reggie Middleton. Decentralized peer-to-peer transactions. Yes, XRP is covered 100% by Reggie's patent. Anyway, Veritasium is a blockchain-based fintech software company that delivers global access to peer-to-peer capital markets through its decentralized platform, digital asset research, and transfers. At the heart of the project seeks to level the economic playing field by creating software which enables participation in peer-to-peer capital markets without intermediaries like banks, brokers, financial advisors, and other mediators. Anyone with an internet connection can sign up for these capital markets using Veritasium. That was the plan, and it worked, and that's why he was taken down. What is the Veritasium token? Veritasium Veri tokens are ERC20 tokens issued on the Ethereum blockchain. Which is, by the way, Ethereum's in violation of Reggie's patent. Now, some say it's decentralized, but there are individuals and other things that have gone on. And Ethereum literally is in violation. Reggie got the patent, applied for it in 2013, by the way. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, let's take a look at why the SEC busted Reggie Middleton. We know why. Ultimately, the reason was he was going to take the bankers out and give that margin that they've been stealing, the massive amount of money they've been stealing from humanity, back to humanity. And he'd take a little sliver of it using his software. SEC obtains freeze of $8 million in assets in alleged fraudulent token offering and manipulation scheme. This is from the SEC. The Securities and Exchange Commission announced fraud charges against a Brooklyn individual and two entities under his control who allegedly engaged in fraudulent scheme to sell digital securities to investors. He never did that, by the way, and to manipulate the market for those securities. On August 12th, 2019, the court entered a emergency freeze to preserve at least $8 million of the $14 million the defendants raised in 2017 and 2018 in an offering of digital securities. What security? Is Microsoft software a security? No, it is not. A large chunk of this most people don't know this, a large chunk of the $14.8 million was a private sale to an individual through Reggie. An individual wanted to buy a hell of a lot of Veritasium, like over $4 million worth, and didn't want to do it on the exchanges because it was bumped the price, and Reggie had 98 million tokens, so he bought them directly from Reggie. Most likely that is the entity that bitched and moaned to the SEC. But other than JP Morgan, all the others. I heard that individual was paid back too. I can't comment on the rest of it, but just keep that in mind. Sorry. Hang on a second. So, as I like to do, let's talk to somebody pretty smart on the subject, ChatGPT. Let's let AI, remember, we won't need judges when we have AI. Here's the question. When did Veritasium ICO? Because, right here, SEC, the ICO, no, I did a scheme to sell fraudulent digital securities. It wasn't an ICO. It was a prepaid software sale for the most part. So I said, when did Veritasium ICO? And ChatGPT said, Veritasium did not conduct an ICO. It is a blockchain-based project founded by Reggie Middleton, which primarily focuses on financial technology and decentralized solutions. Veritasium issued its tokens, VeriTokens, in a process that some might loosely refer to as an ICO, but the project and its methods were distinct. The token sale occurred April 2017. If you're looking for specific details on token distribution, let me know. So I asked, why did Veritasium issue the tokens? Why did Veritasium issuing tokens not constitute an ICO? And here's the answer. It could be a legal answer to the SEC. The issuance of Veritasium tokens has sometimes been distinguished from a traditional ICO due to the difference in its structure, claims, and regulatory content at that time. Here are the key reasons why it might not be considered a traditional ICO. Number one, the purpose of the token. The traditional ICO often raises funds for projects that are in their early stages and may not have a working product. In contrast, Veritasium presented itself as already having a functional platform for financial transactions and decentralized applications at the time of the token issuance, which is true. Reggie was backing gold and silver coins and using Veritasium at the time. The VeriToken was marketed as a utility token meant to be used on the Veritasium platform for access to various financial services and products rather than an investment vehicle. There you go, SEC. That case should be thrown out. By the way, he was never found guilty. He basically said, well, I can't fight the government because they lie, cheat, and steal, and it'll cost me millions of dollars, and they'll still issue a guilty verdict. So I'll come to a sensible agreement with them. They settled out of court. And part of that agreement is we're going to lock up the 98 million Veritasium tokens for a future day, which I think is coming. And so only 2 million VeriTokens are circulating right now. Regulatory compliance. The founder, Reggie Middleton, emphasized that Veri was not marketed as a security or an investment. This contrasts with many ICOs, which implicitly or explicitly encourage participants to buy tokens with the expectation of profit from their appreciation. Number three, direct sales versus traditional ICO structures. Instead of conducting a public crowd sale with extensive marketing, Veritasium token issuance involved direct sales to interested parties. This process was less formalized and did not involve the extensive promotion typically of traditional ICOs, smaller scale and limited outreach. The token issuance process was relatively small scale compared to many high-profile ICOs. Basically, he was only selling 2 million VeriTokens of the 100 million that were created. The focus was less on raising large amounts of capital and more on introducing the tokens to the user's platform. Despite these distinctions, the SEC took action against Reggie Middleton and Veritasium in 2019, alleging that VeriToken issuance constituted an unregistered securities offering. The SEC argued that, one, Veri was promoted as an investment opportunity. It was never promoted as an investment opportunity. Number two, misleading claims were made about the platform's capabilities and partnerships. That's bullshit. It worked. Veritasium does work, and it did work. Reggie's software solution to the current problem of peer to bank to capital to peer markets, it worked, and it was working. And he signed a MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, with the Jamaican Stock Exchange. That was about to happen. So the SEC literally went behind Reggie's back after swearing, everybody come in and work with us. Reggie was at the SEC working with them because they didn't have any rules. He was helping them. And then they went behind his back and scuttled the deal. Proceeds from the sale were used in ways inconsistent with the representations made to the purchaser. Again, it wasn't a security. Who cares what Reggie does with those tokens? It's not. He's not selling the company. It was not a security. It was for use on the Veritasium platform of peer-to-peer transactions. It's a software license, really. Conclusion: while the Veritasium token issuance may have differed in some respects from traditional ICOs, the regulators viewed it as substantially similar in its economic substance and marketing to investors. This underscores the complex and evolving nature of the blockchain token offerings and the importance of adhering to securities laws. You cannot invent security laws. You cannot apply security laws to cryptocurrencies because they are not a security. Never have been. SEC. We know what securities are: stocks, bonds, derivatives, all that stuff. Veritasium was a software. It gave them access, software access to a trading platform. Anyway, and that's why we're giving away one Veri token. You can't, literally, there is no other crypto on the planet that was treated like Reggie. They fined him over 100% of what they called his ICO. Over 100%, which is insane. Insane. And they stole all his Veritasium tokens. He was probably one of the richest guys in crypto at $450 a token back in 2018. You know, that market cap was, times it by 100 million. Yeah, it's one of the large. That's where we're going. Cliff Hyde's data does have the U.S. government coming back to Reggie after the system falls apart and say, help us institute peer-to-peer markets. These banks have all collapsed. The brokerage houses have all collapsed. Nobody knows what the hell is going on. We need a peer-to-peer solution, blockchain-based, decentralized. Reggie, can you help us? That's when you want to have your Veritasium token. And by the way, everything in DeFi, all NFTs are all in violation of the Reggie Middleton patent. I know, what a monkey wrench the government can throw in at any time. Well, Reggie has the patent. Can you imagine Trump's head of the SEC saying, well, this is in violation of the Reggie Middleton patent. Everybody will say, holy shit. But Reggie wants to work with the crypto community. It's in his best interest. So yeah, go to Reggie. Figure out how much he's going to charge you to license the software he invented in 2013. That's what I got for you. Anyway, go to roadtour.com. 1 year subscription. You get one Veri token loaded on paper wallet and sent to your home address. And you get a full year's access to all the behind-the-scenes action at roadtour.com. Keep an eye on silver as we approach Trump's inauguration. Remember, the good guys and the bad guys want the system to implode for different purposes. So hang on tight because we're coming to that moment. It goes all gone. This is Big Square. I'll talk to you later.